Something strange has been hiding in plain sight for years, and most people completely missed it. Today, we're diving into one quiet line from the Loki series finale, a line that may have already revealed the true origin of Doctor Doom long before Marvel officially introduced him.
Stories don't hit us because of what happens. They hit us because of why it happens. Here, we break movies, series, and dramas the way your brain actually experiences them. The psychology, the trauma, the hidden choices nobody talks about. If you love stories that stay with you long after the screen goes dark, you're in the right place. We're Mentebit, and this is where stories get inside your head.
And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Now here's the first thing that feels intentional. In Loki Season 2, Episode 6, the finale, titled Glorious Purpose, the episode mirrors the very first episode of the series. Same title, same framing, same sense that everything is looping back on itself. But buried inside that loop is a story Mobius tells Loki. A story about a child, an 8-year-old boy. And if Marvel is playing the long game, this boy changes everything. At this point in the finale, Loki has already lived through centuries of failure. He's watched timelines collapse, he's watched Victor Timely fail again and again, and finally, he gives up trying to fix the temporal loom. So Loki rewinds further, back to the TVA, back to the interrogation room, back to Mobius. But this time, Loki asks a different question. He doesn't ask what happens to him, he asks how the TVA decides who deserves to live and who doesn't. Mobius hesitates. Then he tells a story that feels disturbingly personal. 2 TVA hunters are sent near the Black Sea. Their mission is simple: prune a variant who will one day be responsible for 5,000 deaths. But there's a problem. The variant is just a child, 8 years old. Mobius admits he froze. He couldn't do it. Timelines began branching, more variants appeared, things spiraled out of control. And in the end, his partner had to step in and prune the child herself. That partner? Ravonna Renslayer. Now here's where things stop lining up cleanly. Because the TVA doesn't normally intervene to prevent mass death. They allow disasters, they allow genocides, they even classify them as apocalyptic events. So why would this child's future matter so much? Why would his existence threaten the proper flow of time? The answer is uncomfortable. Because this wasn't just a mass murderer. This was someone dangerous enough to threaten He Who Remains himself. A multiversal threat. A future rival. And suddenly, that location starts to matter. The Black Sea sits in Eastern Europe, and in Marvel lore, Latveria, Doctor Doom's homeland, has always floated around that region. Sometimes Romania, sometimes Serbia, sometimes undefined, but always nearby. One man, directly responsible for 5,000 deaths. Through his own actions. That's not a dictator hiding behind armies. That's a supervillain. Now here's the detail most people skipped over. Mobius says timelines began branching and more variants appeared. Not branches, variants. So ask yourself this. What if other versions of that child showed up? What if other Doom variants tried to interfere? What if the TVA wasn't just pruning a boy, but erasing the very first rise of Doctor Doom? At the time this episode aired, many dismissed the idea, because Doom wasn't the plan yet. Or so we thought. But just weeks later, reports surfaced that Marvel executives were already discussing replacing Kang as the saga's main villain. Jonathan Majors was fired, the multiverse strategy shifted, entire storylines were rewritten. Even the Loki showrunner later admitted major changes were forced late into Season 2. So that line from Mobius, it may not be accidental. It may be a backup origin Marvel quietly planted, just in case. Now let's take this one step further. What if this Doom isn't just Victor Von Doom? What if he's connected to Tony Stark? Yes, it sounds wild, but Marvel already confirmed Doom will look like Tony Stark. That's not a small decision. So imagine this. Howard and Maria Stark had twins, Tony and Victor. Something happened near the Black Sea. The TVA intervened. Victor was pruned. Reality adjusted itself. Tony grew up believing he was an only child. Victor? He was sent to the void, a place filled with discarded timelines, forgotten technology, and endless resentment. The perfect breeding ground for Doctor Doom. Now ask yourself this. Why was a Doctor Doom comic shown lying in the void during Deadpool and Wolverine? Why do the Russo brothers keep saying these teasers aren't teasers, but stories? And when Doom drains the oceans of Earth, does he start where it all began? At the Black Sea. Marvel doesn't need to erase Kang. They just need to reveal the truth. That Doom was always the threat Kang feared most, and the TVA tried to erase him before he ever rose. But they failed. So now I'll ask you, do you think Marvel already revealed Doctor Doom's origin, and we just didn't realize it? Or is this the smartest retroactive setup the MCU has ever done? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep breakdown, like the video, share it with a fellow Marvel fan, and subscribe to Mentebit for more premium storytelling analysis. See you in the next one.